Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Mental Health Bytes, the podcast presented by MACMA. I'm the host of the podcast, Brandon Jones, and I am the executive director here at Minnesota Association for Children's Mental Health. On today's episode, we are going to focus in on the benefits of sleep. Yes, and not just the benefits of sleep, but creating a calming bedtime routine for the young people in your life. Yes, we know that sleep is important. However, science has not determined why we actually do sleep. It's kind of a weird thing, but we know that it's an important element to our life, especially for children who are developing their brains and their bodies. It's one of those things that we know that we need to do better at. Some of us do well, but we know that that routine is so important to establishing for a healthy dynamic. The energy of your children, their brain functionality, and even your sanity all go into a healthy bedtime routine for children. So we know it's important and we know it's connected to mental health, and that's why we're bringing it to you today. What are some of the common challenges that parents face when they want their children to have a normal routine? A lot of us face resistance. A lot of us face separation anxiety from tablets and other devices, video games, phones, things of these nature. And some families even face a lot of anxiety at night when it comes to bedtime routines. There was a period where my youngest daughter, she's now 3, she was scared of the dark. Even though she was sleeping in her room night after night, something happened. I don't know if she's seen some video or watched a movie. Something happened that clicked where she became scared of the dark and decided that she wanted to start sleeping in the bed with her parents. And that was a very interesting thing that has taken, it's some nights she's good, some nights she needs that, she needs that connection to her parents. So it kind of fluctuates at this point, but that was one of the things that disrupted the bedtime routine because it took so long to get her back to being comfortable in her own bed, in her own room, things of that nature, that, it disrupted my sleep patterns for sure. When you have a 3-year-old who likes to dream about gymnastics and flips all around and you get randomly kicked in the face. These are the things that happen when you're a parent. So it's very important that we try to establish the best bedtime routines that we can so that our children are not dealing with these things on a consistent basis, and really, so we're not dealing with these things either as parents and caregivers. So there is some science behind sleep and its importance for children's mental health and children's emotional well-being. We know that sleep leads to healthy brain development, and that's one of the big things. And I don't want to sit here and bore you with too much information about that today, but I would recommend that you do some Googling. You can start with the Mayo Clinic or even Harvard Medicine for 2 places to go and learn a little bit about the benefits of sleep on the brain and body development of young people. But what I want to talk to you more about is the impact of a consistent routine. Whether that is, some, maybe a bath, maybe some reading or playtime, maybe some connection time, some reflection time for yourself and your child to think. Maybe take more of a spirituality or religious route, and there's some prayer involved. But establishing that consistency and that routine to kind of ease into the bed and ease into sleep, I think is one of the most important things that we can do as parents and caregivers to set our children up for success the next day. And just over a duration of time as their brains are developing. So you might want to know, well, what kind of consistent schedule should we have? Is this every day? Is this every other day? I say you got to understand your family culture to really determine that. What I recommend is that you try to keep as much consistency every day as possible. Now, of course, there's weekends and celebrations and other random things. Sometimes things are happening later than others, or another family member may be in and out of the home, or something's going on and you have to adjust. But trying to find a normal pattern, we go from point A to point B to point C to point D, and point D may be actually getting the kid in bed, tucking them in, reading a bedtime story, or just telling them that you love them, giving them some affirmation, kissing them on the forehead, and letting them go to bed. Like, there has to be some sort of consistency day by day, but just do know that it's not going to always be the exact same, and that's okay as long as you're starting to formulate a pattern that we're initiating bedtime once these activities start to take place. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. Of course, you want to limit screen time before bed. I'm guilty of this myself. I'm on screens all the time, but I do try to at least disconnect from what I'm listening to or watching or working on at least 15 minutes before bed for myself. I would say for a child, it's probably going to be around the same time. If you could do more time, that's amazing. But start. Try to create that separation from the devices as soon as you can, and start that process towards actually being in bed and going to sleep. Relaxing and winding down activities can be helpful. One of the things that we've used are candles. We blow the candles. We'll light the candles for a duration of time and then blow them out as a signal that it's time to go to bed. We've used oils sometimes when some of our kids have had some anxiety around bedtime. Lotions are kind of good for that too, if oils aren't really your thing. And then one of the things that we have kind of weirdly established, I don't think this was intentional, it just kind of happened through habit, was having a bottle of water or just a bottle of water available. So when kids wake up in the middle of the night and they are parched, they don't have to come wake their parents up or sneak down into the kitchen or anything. Just having a nice bottle of water next to your bed, take a sip, and also a box of Kleenex too for those runny noses. And just making sure that they have those things from night to night. And I think that kind of started with myself and my own family, and it kind of just has spread as a family habit where we just have these bottles of water. Everybody has their own kind of bottle, and one of my daughters got a Stanley from the grandparents for Christmas, so she has her big old Stanley next to her bed, and things of that nature. So just making sure that people have the things that they need to be comfortable and get a nice peaceful night's sleep. And then I would say another thing for parents that could be important is just making sure that as your children have the things to stay asleep, right? So, is there a night light? Are there extra blankets in case people get cold? Do they feel like they have the things they need? Just whatever your child needs to stay calm and hopefully stay in bed as long as possible. I would recommend that you attempt to do, so that you just help them, rest as best as possible. So, anyway, those are just some quick tips and some thoughts that I had that I wanted to share with everybody, and just stress the point that bedtime routines are going to be important. We are now pretty much in the spring here, and it's going to start the sun's going to start coming up a little earlier than it used to over the winter, and we're going to have a lot more bright days and bright nights, and you want to kind of ease into another pattern here. Definitely highly recommend focusing on sleep habits and sleep regimens to help your child ease into bed. So what do? So when we struggle with sleep, whether it's related to anxiety, fear, or other mental health concerns, where should we go and what should we do? If it gets to a point where it is affecting your child's ability to engage, maybe communication, even academically, highly recommend that you start reaching out to folks to get a little bit of therapeutic support. You can also check a sleep doctor. There could be something happening with your child that might not be necessarily a mental health concern. It might just be another issue that's going on that is affecting their sleep. Always talk to your medical provider if you have one, and if you don't have one, this may be a good opportunity to start establishing care and being able to share what's going on with the sleep patterns of your child. So in conclusion, we want to just let you know that these are small changes, and all these small changes can lead to big improvements both for your child and for you when it comes to the mental well-being and the sleep needs of our children. There's no guaranteed science with any of this outside of if you don't get enough sleep, it can have impacts on how you feel. And if there's an impact on how you feel, there may be an impact on academics, behaviors, and other issues. So we know that it's important. So make sure you figure out what the right regimen is for you and continue to do the best that you can. All right. I'm Brandon Jones, again, Executive Director here at MACMA, and we're here with the Mental Health Bytes Podcast. Make sure you tune in again in about a month or so, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.